I actually talked to a couple of my teammates. They got the hormone test late in the season and after the season, and we don't realize how depleted we really are towards the end of the season.
Testosterone is related to vitamin D and sun exposure. The way the football season is structured, you're going to go to the Super Bowl when you are at the absolute nadir in your testosterone. And this is the moment in which you're supposed to be at your peak. I hear you got your Morozko on your roof.
I do. It's on my balcony, my big balcony upstairs, which
That's cool. I
I
live on
just
the
got.
32nd floor. I have mine on my balcony too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's great. I mean, usually it's hot, but it's been a monsoon here for the past few days, but yeah, after my workouts, I like to do it a few hours, maybe a couple hours after my workout. And then I do come home, I eat lunch, and then I go up there, and it kind of recharges me for the second half of the day, honestly, because when you run, like we run in the mornings, and then we lift right after that. So from 7 a.m. to 1, 2 o'clock, it's a grind in this heat, and then most years I would just come home and be useless the rest of the day. But honestly, it's really been nice to have it at the house, and it kind of recharges me, and I drink a cup of coffee after, and I feel like I'm ready to have a whole nother day.
So this is exactly what I wanted to ask you. Like, what is your routine? You're in the off season, and it sounds like you're getting up early, you're going running outdoors in Florida, then you lift, then you come home, get a little something to eat, and you go up on the balcony and get into your ice bath.
Yep, yeah, yeah. I get in the ice bath, and then I hang out in the sun for a bit. It's almost unbearable to be in the sun unless you come out of an ice bath. Then it's nice for about an hour. So I do that, get a little sun, and then come in. But yeah, that's kind of my routine in the off season. We have a gym. Me and my brother built a gym here, which is probably 5 minutes down the street, and we've had cold tubs in there, so I've always been doing it. But yeah, having it at the house is, and then the Morosco is just, it's better. It's a lot colder than the ones get at the gym, and I just like the layout of how you're able to lay completely flat. I'm kind of jumbled up in the other ones, and then you just float, which is nice. It's not like you're uncomfortable, like trying to fit your whole body in there. You're just floating, laying down.
I got a
And
picture
yeah,
of you in Las Vegas in the hotel ballroom. You look pretty
yeah,
happy in there.
yeah,
I mean, Nick,
yeah.
most people are like miserable, and you got a big smile on your face.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most fun thing in the world, but it's well worth it. I enjoy it. And then yeah, during the season, they have a pretty good one at the facility that has some serious jets in it. It doesn't get quite as cold, but the jets kind of make up for it. And it's tougher to do that one honestly because it's in the building, and our facility's in the stadium, so it's kind of like a cold, like dark area, and it's just a lot more. And I do it first thing in the morning, which is always a little harder. I don't do that here because I have to go run. I don't want to get cold before I go hit the field, but yeah, I do that first thing in the morning, and all last year I stuck to it. It was tough, but every morning I'm in there. A lot of days I'm sitting there for 10 minutes just looking at it, but I know I'm gonna do it, so I may as well just get in right away.
Those 10 minutes are the worst part of the ice
Right,
bath. It's not actually when you're in, it's the right before you get in that I hate the worst.
for sure. Yeah, I agree.
But Mitch told me that he doesn't like getting into the ones that you have in the at the stadium because he has sensitive skin and the chlorine and the chemicals there don't agree with him.
That's a great point. Yeah, we have a big one that majority of the guys get into. It's a little. It's probably like high 40s, and that one gets a little nasty. The one up high, it's on this little thing. It's smaller and colder. That one doesn't bother me, but I've learned a lot about just how much chlorine is not good, and your skin absorbs it, and it's just not a good thing. Which I wish I didn't learn, but now I know.
Yeah, I hate it.
Which is amazing with your guys' tub, because it's completely free of all that stuff, and it's still able to stay clean, which is nice.
Did you talk to Elliot? Because we're going to get those chlorinated ones out of there and put in Morozko.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. He gave me the layout. I was there for mini camp, so we're gonna get a few of them, and then I think he said we're getting the I don't know what you call it, but it's like a barrel type one.
Yeah, a little more vertical. So you're not laying down, and it's a different emotional experience when you get to sit up. And I'm going to want your feedback.
Yeah, for sure. I'll
Yeah.
see. I don't know if it could beat the lay down, but it's nice for sure. I'm excited.
You said you didn't want to get cold before your run. So how come?
Yeah, I've heard that it is good. It's good for like it kind of boosts testosterone pre-workout. Something just with my life of training, and I want my muscles to be warm as can be. And it's almost, for me now that I've had that thought process, which obviously it's good to get warm. You will take a long time to warm up before you do anything too explosive or anything like that. But I'm a little afraid to do a cold plunge before my run and strain something, do something like that, which I don't think it would happen. But the routine I've had, I jump in the pool before I go run, so I do my movement in the pool, which the pool is not cold. So, but yeah, I mean, it's something I'm open to if it's a really obviously you know more than me, so I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
What you're saying makes so much sense, especially the football guys, because everyone started doing ice baths, at least from the waist down in high school. There's a big workout, especially if they're in a warm weather state. And then the coach is like, all right, get in the whirlpool. We're going to dump some ice in there. And it's always been after workout. So for someone like you, you've had a lot of success with your routine, your discipline, you know what works, and then you don't want to mess with that. Like if this is working, why would I try something different and take that chance? However, the off season is the time to experiment, Nick.
For sure.
What I'm seeing, this isn't my research. This is coming out of Stanford and Craig Heller, and he's taking his graduate students, not like super trained athletes. And he'll say, okay, how many pull-ups have you got? How much can you squat? And then he'll pre-cool them or per cool them, meaning like heat extraction between sets, and they'll be able to do 2, 3 times as many pull-ups. And so it's like, for at least these untrained athletes, an instant personal best on any exercise that they're trying. So for you, don't do it before you lift heavy. You
Yeah,
don't
that's what I was
need,
just gonna ask.
right. And you don't have to go hard after an ice bath to get the testosterone boost. For you, it would be like, okay, I'm going to ice bath. And then I'm going to be out in the sun. I'm going to do a little walking, not sprinting. I'm going to do a little jog just to rewarm. In my case, all I did was push ups, my steel mace, and then I would walk to campus, and my testosterone went through the roof. I talked to a guy in Massachusetts who was on TRT, and he read my article. He's older than me by about 6 or 7 years, so he's in his 60s. He said, screw the TRT. I'm just going to try a little cold, and then I'm going to like power walk home. He put, it's kind of like a soccer mom thing for him. His T went up higher than mine. So there's a misconception from some people who have read the articles, like they're going to pre-cool and then lift really heavy. It's not the way Joe Rogan does it either. He's like, I do my ice bath and then I do some push-ups, I do some squats, just some light stuff, and then I go to the gym and I do my routine. So if you were gonna try it, try it in the morning, in the off season, do a jog, and then see how it feels for you on that first jog.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of my training in terms of lifting especially when you get closer to the season, is low rep, higher weight. I'm trying to really increase my max force production. And I think earlier in the off season when I'm doing higher rep, lower weight stuff, that would probably be a great time to give it a try. But maybe before the runs, because I mean, I go through a comprehensive warm up anyway. So my heart rate and my body will be warm either way after. So yeah, I mean that would be pretty interesting, especially I actually talked to a couple of my teammates. I won't say their names just
Okay.
because they told me they got the hormone test late in the season and after the season, and we don't realize how depleted we really are towards the end of the season. And
You are
it's
correct.
yeah, it's mentally stressful. You have nicks and things that you don't know are going to get better before the next week. So it's affecting your sleep, and there's so many things that deplete your testosterone and whatever other hormones there are. So maybe incorporating that into maybe like a light practice day, um, where we're walking through mainly, but we're out moving around. That could be a good move as well.
Nick, this is so smart because testosterone is related to vitamin D and sun exposure. The way the football season is structured, you're going to go to the Super Bowl when you are at the absolute nadir in your testosterone. It's like early February. The days are so short. You're not outside. You're not getting a lot of sun. Even if you're in a southern state, I don't know, like, Miami, there's still not a lot of vitamin D happening down there. Your circadian rhythm is all screwed up because you've been traveling. And this is the moment in which you're supposed to be at your peak.
Yeah.
You're in the NFC Championship, you're in the Super Bowl. And I agree, you don't realize how depleted, and it's not just the bumps and the bruises, but how depleted your hormones are at the time when you need them the most.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's definitely something I'll for sure experiment with now that I think about it, because that's a very low risk for something new time for me to incorporate that. So yeah, it's cool, and I'm definitely going to tell my dad about it too,
Tell me about
because
your dad. What's up with him?
I mean, I've gotten him in full blown into the cold plunge sauna, all that stuff. He loves it, and I'm super happy that he's into it because it's especially at the sauna with older people, um, just being able to. I've seen or heard about a lot of studies that show just all cause mortality rates are um, lowered um, a lot by like 3 days a week getting in the sauna and cold plunge. So he's all about it, and I think he likes to hop on the bike and spin. So I think that would be a great thing to jump in the tub before for sure.
Is he in Florida near you?
Yep. He's about 10 minutes.
That's fantastic. Maybe it doesn't surprise you. I relate to the dads more than I relate to the professional athletes because that's my age. I'm trying to stay young. And maybe you listen to Cam Hanes and Huberman and some of the other guys. Mike Mutzel has been talking about how good sauna is for longevity and your cardiovascular system.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard Cam Hanes a few times on Rogan. I've listened to Rogan a lot, and then yeah, Huberman. I was big on him for a while. It's a little sciencey for me, but there's some great snippets that I like to base some of my stuff off of for sure.
I don't blame you. It took me a week to be able to say anterior mid-cingulate cortex because, Huberman's got this huge vocabulary. I'm an engineer, but when David Goggins goes on the Huberman podcast and they start talking about ice baths, I got to put that on repeat until I've
Right.
mastered it.
Yeah, it takes a couple listens for sure.
That's correct. You sound really thoughtful about your ice bath practice. It leads to a couple of questions. The first one is, because I talked to Fred Warner. He's like, at BYU, we didn't have anything this cold. So the first one is for you, is there a difference between 40 and 33?
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a progression. If I'm maybe on vacation or not doing it for a while, I might get the similar effect from a higher temp. But once I'm in my routine and I've been doing it for a while, I definitely notice when it's lower. The lower the better, and it's can't get any lower than the one I have now. So yeah, I hop in and I fully submerge, and then I move around every like 30 seconds a minute, and just do 3 minutes. I definitely don't like to go extra time just because it seems kind of diminishing returns, um, but yeah, I mean, I maybe it's just me wanting to fucking test myself as much as I can, but no, I really feel like the intellectual boost after when it's colder for sure.
I agree with you. I go 3, maybe 4 minutes, and I don't like to go longer unless I'm showing off. I mean, sometimes I like to show off. So I will, or if I'm shooting a video.
Yeah, I've heard it could be dangerous. My dad sometimes gets a little show offy as well, so he might
He's fine.
he gets zen in there too.
Yep.
He gets pretty locked in, so
Good for
it's
him.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can always get on the bike and rewarm. That's a really good one to get the blood moving back in the limbs. You get on the bike, and the legs are like a second heart. They reopen the blood vessels and help them rewarm.
for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give him a call after this.
Nice. Here's my other question. And I don't know if it's really a football question, but some fans are going to feel like that. What does it take for you to stay on top at this stage of your career? Because I talked to a guy, he's a customer, he just signed a great deal with the Commanders, and he tells me, Tom, you know what the NFL stands for? Not for long. The careers are so short. And I talked to other guys, you're like, I'm not going to get faster, I'm not going to get stronger. And so you're so thoughtful. And I'm wondering if you thought about this. What does it take for you to stay on top?
Yeah, I've definitely had this conversation, and it exactly what you just said. Not for long. Just being available is the number one thing. And I've learned every single off season, every single season, exactly how to, and it changes for sure with how old you get and how your body's doing, but just how to push it when it's time to push it and when to dial back. When I was younger, I just pushed it and pushed it, and it got me into some strains here, some strains there. And over the years, I've really mastered exactly how to avoid all the controllable things. Yeah, just with football, you can't practice your sport like a different sport, like a tennis or a basketball or any other sport where you could just go into the gym and rep what your sport is. The only way that you could practice football is playing football. And it's tough because if you do have an injury or something, which I've had in the past, you're missing camp, you're missing a season, you're missing so much time where you're not able to hone your craft. And I think that's why football is different. So you really have to focus on what's going to allow you to be on the field. And then once you're able to string together some years on the field, that's when you just have to go into every day with intentful practice where you're not just going through the motions, but thinking about a particular thing you want to get better at that day.
That makes a ton of sense. You got me thinking about Heinz Ward. He's just now I teach at ASU. I'm an engineering professor, and Heinz Ward is now the wide receivers coach. And you reminded me that I want to talk to him about the changes he made at the end of his career. If I remember correctly, he was such a physical player for a wide receiver, but I don't think he practiced on Wednesdays, or it was something like that. He was talking the way you're talking about, when do you push it and when do you back off so you can recover? When you're young, you think it's like all out all the time. And then you get smarter and you realize that all out all the time isn't what your body needs, and it's not actually going to make you better. You mentioned the diminishing returns. What have you found in your approach that has changed as you've matured?
It's really nothing with the structure and the program of what I do because I've had the same trainer, me and my brother. We do the same stuff. It's more just, for example, longer warm up. Like I said earlier, getting in the pool before my run and doing a movement circuit before I go to the field. Um, Days off, listening to your body when it's telling you like, oh, I wanna hit my percentage, my weights this Monday and squat because I feel better when I do. But maybe if I dial back this week, take a light week, and and give my body a little more time, then it'll end up benefiting me later on in the season. So just small things like that. Yeah, pretty much just small tweaks here and there. Ice tub was one of them for sure, that I integrated this year every morning. So yeah, just small things like that, and yeah, just learning from your mistakes.
Hmm. I wrote an article for Elliot that week before the Super Bowl in Vegas. He asked, Professor Seager, do you have any advice about how we can use the ice baths to prepare? And the most important thing I wanted him to appreciate was not to go too hard leading up to the game. Don't, I mean, you want your mitochondria to peak on game day, and there's no sense stressing them out on the Saturday or on the Friday. You got to give them a couple of 3 days for the mitobiogenesis to kick in so that they can be in top form when you need them the most. At least that was what I was trying to get through to Elliot, but I don't know if they got through to you. Did you change anything about your ice bath routine going up to the Super Bowl?
Um, I was kind of unaware, but do you think taking days off is a good move?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
go
didn't.
every day, but I'm not playing in the Super Bowl, Nick. You
Right.
know, I don't have that kind of high stakes event. But the way you're doing it sounds like it's really smart. If I were in your position, I would go cold and short right before the game. Not even 4 minutes, just minute, just to wake up, like you say. There's a mental benefit to it, and sometimes the confidence and the dopamine and the adrenaline rush that you're getting from it is a big psychological boost. But you're not in there the day before the game or on game day to try and do a workout to try and boost your mitochondria. You got to do that 7 to 10 days before the game. That would be the time to go hard in the ice bath. And this signals your body to take out the bad mitochondria, replace them with better mitochondria. So you're at a metabolic peak when you need it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely taper down closer to the games then. Um, yeah, maybe Saturdays, just a minute or two, just
Yep.
in the morning, and then that should give me plenty of time before Sunday evening.
Yep.
I don't do it. Um, well, obviously, when we're on the road, we don't have an ice tub, so but when we're at home on game days would be the only day I don't, but I do jump in and get out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You get a little charge. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Just remind your body that it's there. Yep.
Yeah. I kind of was practicing that without knowing on game days. So, I think talking to you was great. Good insight for sure. I'm loving the unit, and it's working
I'm so
great.
happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all took pictures of it before we put it on a truck to Florida because we were so proud of the way it came out with the cladding, and we did the laser engraving, and we're like, that is pretty sweet. So
I mean,
I'm
it's
glad you like
beautiful.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not only a great tool, but it's a cool piece of furniture up there. It really is.
And is it holding up on your balcony? I mean, it's wet, it's bright. We put a different finish on there. There's a tung oil finish that we're using on all the models. It's all natural, it absorbs and it hardens over time. And frankly, you're kind of the major experiment because your unit is more exposed than any other one that we have out there. And when you see, like, I don't know, cracking or fading in the finish, I want to know, because we also have a tung oil refinish process. And that means we're going to send somebody out and we're going to be like, great, let's get some more on there, kind of wax it up, and let's see if that's going to be the thing that everybody, part of our maintenance program that we tell the owners to use.
Yeah, no, it's holding up great, but me and my dad were just talking about the fact that we're gonna cover it. We haven't figured out what we're gonna do, but some type of awning or something just to get it out of the motor and everything out of the sun because it's directly in the sun. So I don't want to put that much stress on it, but yeah, it's perfect right now. So
As the guy who built it, I'm like, thank you. I think that would go a lot easier on it. If you're going to drive around in a Bentley, you're going to park in the garage. Is
right,
what
for
I feel
sure.
like. Yep.
So yeah, that's the next move.
Well, thanks, Nick. When we do interviews like this, you're teaching me about how elite athletes are getting more out of the cold exposure. And the guys who are watching that they're all the pro athletes. Like the people who ask me about this post, they're all your competitors. And so those people are watching what you do. I'm going to get questions because people emulate the successful people in their profession, if that makes sense.
I appreciate it, man.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, have a good one. Good to meet you.